All right. So, hello out there, awesome radio family. Thank you for joining us on 107.5 FM and 1570 AM WECU every Tuesday from 2 to 3 p.m. right here on your radio dial. Are you ready to learn, engage, and inspire? Well, come on. Welcome to Let's Talk K-12 Education Show. I'm your host for the next 50 minutes, Tonitia Langley, education enthusiast, thought leader, and founder of an education coach and consulting business. So I'm excited to partner with you and be dedicated to the heart of our community, which is education. I'm the host, but you and the community mean the most. I would love for you to share your suggestions of what you would love to get more information related to K-12 education. So please email us at let's talk K-12 education at gmail.com. Again, email us at let's talk K-12 education at gmail.com. Guys, it's a treat for you today. But before we get started today, on last week's show, we explored the topic, the art of behavior management, a masterclass, part one. And we had none other than my very own beginning teacher mentor, Jennifer Kreiner, and a returning ed consultant partner of mine, Tiffany Proctor. And we provided tons of information regarding that topic. You say, I missed it. Not a problem. If you would like a recap of those tools and resources for that show or any other previous Let's Talk K-12 education show, catch us on the replay and comment hashtag replay by heading over to Awesome Radio on Facebook, 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. Look for the beautiful purple and green logo. And you don't do Facebook, that is not a problem. Go on over to YouTube. All right. And you can look for us on www.youtube.com at Awesome Radio. And do not forget to put WECU at the end. And again, look for that beautiful purple and green logo. Going to open up our show today with our topic of discussion, which is the art of behavior management masterclass. And this is part two. And here's our thought provoker. Imagine a child struggling with behavior issues, both at home and at school. How can families and schools work together to create a supportive and effective environment for the child? This thought-provoking question should spark a discussion about the challenges families face when dealing with behavioral issues and the importance of collaboration. You hear that word, collaboration, between home and school. It also invites you all as our viewing and radio listening audience to consider the various factors that contribute to behavioral problems and explore potential solutions that can benefit both the child and the entire community, because we all know, unfortunately, when those behaviors and those challenges are not met with solutions, we see it far too often in our communities and unfortunately on the news that it can impact the community in a negative way. So here's a fun fact with our brain teaser today, courtesy of AI University. Did you know that students who experience consistent behavior expectations, both at home and in school, are more likely to excel academically and socially? Research shows that when parents and teachers collaborate on behavior management, students develop stronger self-discipline and emotional resilience, leading to fewer behavioral issues and improved performance. So this fun fact, listen, audience and viewers, it reinforces the importance of homeschool partnerships in shaping positive student outcomes. Tying back into the riddle today, was going to tie into the riddle about the alignment between the two environments. So let me introduce you to my awesome and talented guest that will add some great information, tools, and resources in this masterclass regarding the Art of Behavior Management series, part two. Got me a new one up here today, and I'll tell you guys more about her. We are connected, but we'll talk about that. And her name is none other than Miss Thretha Green. Thretha Green is a licensed professional counselor and psychotherapist. Thretha has over 30 years of experience serving families in the greater New Haven area. She's worked with trauma exposed families and children facing challenges in both school and the judicial system. Known for her advocacy in special education and her dedication to ensuring families understand their rights, Thretha has also spoken on panels about PTSD, my gosh, health disparities, and the impact of COVID-19. Beyond her clinical work, she's an active community leader with local organizations. Thretha Green, welcome to the show today, and I cannot wait to get your perspectives on this masterclass with the art of behavior management as your expertise as a psychotherapist. I can't wait.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And we have on the call online, we've got Miss Tiffany Proctor. And Tiffany Proctor, again, works on the ed consultant team that I have. We've done some consulting work for teachers in Nigeria, and she's a returning contributor on the show. And let me tell you why. Her name is Tiffany Proctor. She's online, and Tiffany brings 24 years of experience in education to the table, specializing in school counseling, behavior management, MTSS, which is the multi-tiered support system, and don't strangle me if I got it wrong because I couldn't remember, and adult education. Tiffany has dedicated her career to empowering students and educators alike. Her expertise and passion for making a difference in the lives of others truly make her a leader in the field. Miss Tiffany Proctor, thank you for continuing to join into the discussion of Let's Talk K-12 education and bringing your expertise around behavior management. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you so much. And MTSS is multi-tiered systems of support. You had it.
Come on. Give me some. Thretha, you better give me some finger snaps. Yes, ma'am. Okay. It's been since 2019, but I do remember because I used to serve on one of our teams at school. So not an expertise in it, but I know enough to be dangerous. All right. So I wanted to provide some education and context around behaviors that might be more apparent and noticeable, usually during this time before the K-12 school holidays. My God. Is what educators term as the ending of the honeymoon phase of a new school year wearing off. What y'all know about that?
Oh, yeah.
Way too much. The woo yeah is right.
Way too much. So our objectives today is to explore the challenges and opportunities for collaboration between families and schools and addressing student behavior. We're going to identify some common challenges. We're going to explore some effective strategies. We're going to highlight the benefits of collaboration. We're going to provide resources and support, and we're going to encourage community involvement. So, as a former educator and classroom teacher from a traditional public school setting and current education coach and consultant, my goal is to use this platform right here on Awesome Radio, WECU, as an unbiased show to educate and provide information as it pertains to educating our future. That's the goal of the Let's Talk Education Show, to let others know that in the challenging educational landscape, there is a light that pierces the darkness, and there are educators working in the trenches, stakeholders like Ms. Green and Ms. Proctor, and educational thought leaders like myself partnering to close the gap of the school to prison pipeline with tenacity, grit, grind, and providing hope. So let's get into today's topic. I alluded to it in the Educational Thought Provoker for the Art of Behavior Management, a masterclass series, which is part 2. So according to AI University, here are some stats, okay, that when we got this under control, it improves the teacher-student relationships per Fan and Chin 2001. It increased equity and support for at-risk students, which I'm very familiar with working in a Title I school, according to Matt and Kuttner, 2013. and it has a positive impact on teacher practices. And that is according to Barnyak and McNeely from a 2009 research. So overall, research suggests that strong partnerships between families and schools can have a significant positive impact on student outcomes. By working together, families and schools can create a supportive and nurturing environment and helps children thrive. Got a new part before we get to our first guest today, and it's called the Chime and Check-In segment. So here is a topic of engagement from your perspective. So I'm going to do just one myth because I want to get to the guest before we go, and I want you guys to chime and check in with your expertise self. So here are some myths according to AI University. And here's one of the myths as it pertains to behavior management with the focus on family and school engagement and partnership with some realities and clarifications. And I'm going to get you guys to chime and check in on it. Our first myth is behavior management is solely the school's responsibility. Now, I'm not even going to get to the reality on that one. I'm going to get you guys to chime and check in. Miss Threetha, since this is your first time on the show, chime and check in. Chime and check in. Behavior management is solely the school's responsibility.
That's a myth.
That's a myth.
That's a myth. The should be a joint. You've been using the word collaboration since we started, and it is a collaboration. It's a collaboration with the parents as well as the school administration.
I would agree. All right, Tiffany, chime in. Check and chime in.
You know, for me, it is the collaborative. It's the family. It's the entire school. Like, it cannot be just the school, because if it is, the things that I do at school, you can't replicate if you see this behavior at home or in any other setting. So it can't solely be on the school. It has to be a collaborative.
It has to be
between the family and the school.
And I just also add, if there's a child that is playing, a student that plays sports, I'm a big sports fan. So, and I was an athlete. The coaches, anybody that's a part of that child's environment, their circle, they should also be a part of that collaborative.
Yes, ma'am.
Some ed snaps.
I'm right there with you.
It snaps. You, as the kids say, you guys are busting it. You eating. Yeah. You ate that. So listen, let me go on and go. Come on in, Miss Threetha. Come on in before we go to break. We got about 7 minutes before we go to our station break. Come on in and add to the discussion of what you want to bring about before we head to the break about the take them to the master class about the art of behavior management.
Okay, so thank you again for having me up here. This is my love, working in the school and advocating for students and their families. As a therapist, the goal for me is, I used to be a school-based clinician. Now I still continue to work in the school as a therapist. So the goal for me is that everyone is successful, right? Yes. And when I say everyone, not only the student, but the teachers, the administration, but the families. It's important that when we talk about behavior management, we see where this behavior is stemming from, what is driving the behaviors. As you said earlier, I am a trauma specialist, and usually some of these behaviors are stemmed from trauma, but trauma in different diagnoses like ADHD, autism, all kind of mirror each other. So it's important when we talk about the management of the behavior, where is it driving from? When we say driving, meaning where is it stemming from? Is the child having some type of behaviors at home that mirrors the behaviors in school? Sometimes they're not. Because school really is the safest place. A lot of people don't understand that. So those behaviors seem to show a little bit more in school because it's a safe place. Meaning teachers are very restricted. They're limited to the amount of discipline, right, that they can give to a kid. So sometimes kids act out in that way because it is a safe space for them. Not to say it's always a safe space, because there's a lot of bullying going on, whether it's with other students or having some difficulties in school. So it's important that we collaborate, and that's my goal when I come into play. Is let's take a look at what the kids are offered, students are offered in the school. A lot of our parents, and I'm going to say African American, I work with a lot of African American students. We don't know our rights, right? Especially in the urban setting. They do not know the right. Their children have rights in school. And so a lot of times those rights are kind of like restricted because of budgets within the school.
Right.
And so there's only certain amount of resources that they may know about until someone like myself or someone like Ms. Proctor steps in, or yourself, like the consultant, steps in and say, oh, no, there's other resources. How do we utilize those resources so that the child can be successful?
Miss Green, but before, because I have to ask this side of the break. So, with you're coming inside the school as a stakeholder, when there are unique, pretty sad situations where we talk about the collaboration between, bridging the gap from home to school. What is it that you do as a trained psychotherapist and therapist inside the school system when you are working with the members of the staff of the school when there is a lack of support from home? How are you guys, what are you coming up with to help that child be successful and help that child be successful in the school setting?
So my goal is, as the stakeholder, is to figure out who are the other stakeholders, right? Who are the other providers in the community? Gotcha. And so my goal is to collaborate, that C word again, right? With the school. Let's collaborate. Let's bring the mom in, bring dad in, grandma in, whoever is involved in this child's life, to see how we can bridge that gap, because bridging that gap is going to be important. And sometimes it's difficult. We don't know what this child is going through at home. We don't know what mom, dad, we don't know what's going on in this child's life. So my goal is to step in and say, okay, I don't have a problem with reaching out to mom or grandma or dad to say, okay, this is what's going on in the school, because this is the reality. Sometimes people don't know what they don't know, right? They don't know how to communicate with the teacher.
That's true. Very true.
There's this, so K through 12 schools are usually kids that have been there for a long period of time. And sometimes the parents and the teachers just don't get along.
So you think you have an advantage by being an outside person, a stakeholder?
Absolutely. Because I'm the person that's the mediator in it, right? I'm the person, I do have an investment in it for the student, and that's what's important. I make it very clear. I'm here for the student, and then I'm here to help with the wraparound services. But at the end of the day, I'm not the principal of the school. I'm not the parent. So I'm not here to tell people how to do their job, how to parent. I'm here to say, let me help you with some resources. Let me even be resourceful to the school, because sometimes they don't know about the outside providers. I bring that. That's the advantage that I have.
Ed Snap. And Miss Green, I would definitely have to agree with that. It's kind of like your own personal children. You can tell them 1,000 times, but Lulu down the street can tell them the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
And it comes across different from the messenger. And so by you being in partnership, being part of the village, the parent it feels less threatening, is what I think. Because you're coming, the school has probably told the parents or the village 1,000 times, but by you coming in with those fresh perspectives, they see that as less threatening. So I could push on some more of that, but we're gonna pick it back up, this masterclass, on the other side of the break. So we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will continue the masterclass on the art of behavior management for educators, students, and with their families that can foster effective behavior management to impact student learning. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show on Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5, 1570 AM, where we make education everyone's business. We'll be right back after this short message to continue this masterclass, where we will have none other than Miss Threetha Green and Tiffany Proctor on the line. Don't go anywhere. Come back and continue joining us for this art of behavior management. Welcome back to Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. You can find us talking about all things education every Tuesday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Let's Talk K-12 Education. You looking for us? Good. I can tell you exactly where to find us. You can find us on Facebook, Awesome Radio 107.5 FM and 1570 AM with the beautiful purple and green logo. You can find us on YouTube if you want to be discreet. And you can find us on www.youtube.com at Awesome Radio WECU, again with the purple and green logo. You can email us at Let's Talk K-12 Education Show if you have some thoughts of some topics that you would like to have discussed. You can also email us there. So before the break, I shared some information, and Miss Threetha took us on. She put us on in the master class. But during break, there was some great professional learning community conversation and teacher cafeteria conversation that I've asked Miss Tiffany Proctor and Miss Threetha to start us off with. So if you ladies, if you want to take us back to that masterclass for behavior management and the conversation, the water cooler conversation we were having during break, take us on there to that masterclass, Tiffany. Start us off.
Yes, ma'am. So just to lead to that conversation was talking about the school environment and being that collaborative member, of the team with parents. And the difficulty getting them in is the structure sometimes of the school, and if parents feel invited into a school. So we have to set that environment so that your family can be honest and open and kind of share some things, so that when we are looking at behavior management, we can get to the root causes without going months and months trying to figure it out. But I think we had a really good discussion about, being that member in meetings and things like that. So, yeah.
And I think what was important when we were talking about, I was speaking about when we talk about inviting, letting the parent feel invited to the table.
Yes.
Feeling comfortable to come into the school anytime they want. We don't have to agree on everything, but it's important that we understand how the approach of the conversation is, right? The tone. People don't understand tone is important. When you're condescending towards people, it doesn't become intimidating. Well, for some it does, but for others, we don't know what people have been through in their life, right? So tone, and I'm speaking on a professional level, I have an issue with tone.
I do too.
You have to speak to me, give me the same respect that I give you. It doesn't matter what title we hold, where we're at in this chain of command. Everyone should be treated with respect and dignity. And
Threetha and Tiffany, what's that old saying? Say it's not what you said, it's what? How you say it.
It's how you say it.
Absolutely.
Your body language and your tone will shut a conversation down quickly or have it going to the next level.
Absolutely.
It's very much what you say and how you say it. I've taught teachers that for the last 24 years, Tonitia, because that could start some stuff that you're not ready to finish. And Tiffany is tired. She's not ready to help you.
Yes.
One day I asked a young teacher, I said, "Ma'am, have you ever been punched in your face?" And they all was like, "Oh my goodness." I said, "No, the way in which you just spoke to that parent."
Absolutely.
I need you to always have in the back of your mind that that's a possibility, because when you have that as a possibility, you change your demeanor, you change your body language and your tone.
Absolutely.
I don't care of our title, as you said, our title means absolutely nothing if we treat people ill. Like if we don't treat them well, then it doesn't matter if I'm the principal, the director, or a teacher. It does not matter. So I told my students, I will show you what this behavior looks like. I'm going to model respect. Once I model respect, now that's on you to show me the respect that I model. But I don't automatically think because of my title or my age that you automatically respect me. And I think that's something that
it goes both ways.
You know, that's something that we were taught, that you automatically respect people. And I always give that. But speaking to students, especially now, you have to fit the time. So I have to show you what this really looks like. And
modeling is important. Modeling is very important. And I am a strong believer of that. I come from a family. My family is from the South. I'm here, born and raised in New Haven, Connecticut. However, my family is from North Carolina, Greenville, Aden. And I'm brought up on that. I'm brought up on respect. You listen, but what I've taught my kids and my students and my staff and professional people that I work with, respect is a two-way street. And that's the way our new generation is. You don't respect me, you won't get the respect back. And so we want to teach everyone across the board that we should respect one another no matter what the age is.
So Thretha and Tiffany, that is a great segue into a question that I was sitting here like, I want to ask. So we got a few minutes before the break. So listen, this segue into something that just fits so perfect. That was at the top of my bun here. So when we're talking about the modeling behavior and bringing parents to the table in the discussions as it pertains to behavior management, when there are either those manifestation meetings, when there's some things that have gotten out of hand. So here's a question to you ladies, as in your expertise dealing as counselors and therapists. So when you're bringing these family members or these members of the village of these children, if you're lucky enough to get them to the table, but within a few minutes or so of the meeting, you're like, I see where they learned that behavior. How do you guys handle when those members of the family of the village are displaying the exact same behaviors that you're seeing these children display? How do you get past those meetings, and what are some tools and resources that you are using, Miss Thretha? I'll start with you. We got about a few minutes before we head to break. I'll bring you in on that one.
The first thing is a lot of psychoeducation around, can you tell me a little bit how you discipline? Can you tell me a little bit about, because I noticed that you became very frustrated. Is this how you handle frustration? So what that does for me is open up the door for the parents to be comfortable with me, to say, you know what, I do handle it this way, and maybe this is how. And then I go back to the whole modeling piece. You know what? Your child, you are your first child's role model. Yes. So the behaviors that they see, and I try to make it in a way, sometimes I am a very transparent person, but I do understand I got to kind of like, meet them where they're at. And so meeting them where they're at means, you know what, I see you're a little bit frustrated today. Is this how you handle situations?
I love it.
How can I help you? Because this is a domino effect for, little John. So that's the approach that I take, but I'm very, very clear of letting them know this may be where some of these behaviors may be stemming
from.
And it can come from several generations. Tiffany, get a little piece of this masterclass before we head to break.
I mean, absolutely all of that. But even before even speaking to them, I share my calm as I do with my students. I may be raging in the inside because baby, who are you speaking to?
Yes.
But then I show them and I model the same things for the students, that I do. I'm sharing my calm, and the same things you get to see. I always ask my students, like, was that an effective thing for you? Oh, this is how my whole family acts. But what were the consequences of those actions? Is that something? Oh, my uncle went to jail because of the consequences of that. So we always make it reflective, not, oh, they're horrible because this. No, if I did a certain behavior, what was the consequence? Because there's always a consequence. So what was the consequence, good or bad? What was the consequence of that? And if you are consistently saying bad things happen or negative things happen based on how you respond, then we work on how to respond. But with the parents in a meeting is, and we're going to meet several times, is always to share my calm and share the strategies that is working for us in the classroom. I'm not here to change your life, but it could happen. But you're not the subject right now.
Absolutely.
But and in a meeting, I'm not going to fight with you on how your tone is towards me, but I'm going to keep my tone under your tone. And it's going to kind of force you to kind of adhere to your environment. And that's work for 99%. The other 1%, you know, you got a little trespassing. But hey, you get to your goal. You get to your goal with the majority of your students by respecting them as the people that they are, and not just based on titles.
Oh, thank Tiffany.
Absolutely.
You said a whole mouthful. Let me get ready to do radio business. So listen, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to continue the masterclass on the art of behavior management for educators, students, and their families, and how that can positively impact student learning. Do not go anywhere. You're listening to the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show on Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM, where we make education everyone's business. We'll be right back after this short break. All right, so welcome back to Awesome Radio 107.5 FM and 1570 AM WECU, promoting educational equity for the families in our listening and viewing community. I'm the host, but you and the community mean the most. Please email us at K12. Email us your K-12 educational suggestions or topic ideas at let's talk K-12 education at gmail.com. So before the break, Tiffany and Thretha took us to a masterclass with the art of behavior management and how we can bring these families to the table and some challenges that they incurred and some strategies that they suggested. And we're going to pick back up and let Miss Thretha Green continue to take us into this masterclass with the art of behavior management. So Miss Thretha, if you'll continue with our discussion, that would be wonderful.
Thanks again. So what we were talking about, which is most important, I gave an example of a young man that he was about 15 years old and he was struggling. So he was referred to me, and in the process of getting to know him, just building a rapport with him, what came out was, and I'm gonna give you some symptoms of some things that was happening, some school refusal, very angry when he's asked to do something, especially like doing his schoolwork, and just being present in the moment. And once I sat down with him, I realized this kid was such a good kid. He just had some challenges. And some of those challenges, you know, were stemming from what a role model may look like for him. And I asked him, what is a role model? Who is your role model? And he was, you know, was sad, but he said, no one. Oh, man. And he gave me, you know, there was probably about 4 different young men living in his house. His grandfather, uncles, and I think mom's boyfriend, if I'm not mistaken. And so when we talked about that, and I was like, wow, you know, you don't have no role models in the house. So I gave him an example, said, mom is probably a role model. And in the process of that, I asked him why he didn't see them as a role model. And, you know, he gave some, you know, examples like when the uncles was, you know, kind of like hanging out in the streets. That's how he hustled. And he really didn't have a go-to for the other men in the house. So I gave him, you know, something to think about. I was like, you don't see mom as a role model? You know, mom gets up every day. Mom is the provider in the home. And, you know, after he thought about it, he was like, you know what? My mom is the only one that provides.
Right. And you were probably the first one to ever help him make that connection of what a role model is, because unfortunately the males in his lives didn't depict what he probably saw other people say were role models. So,
Mhm.
Threetha, I have this thing when I coach children, children that I'm tutoring or mentoring, and I say,
Mhm.
"Catch your brain." I'm gonna do that right there because that is deep. That is
Mhm.
beautiful that you were able to point that out for him. Now, let
Mhm.
me ask you this: were there any positive outcomes that came out of you working with him, dealing with these challenges with his behavior management, and
Mhm.
then with you being able to do something as simple as make a connection that was right underneath his nose that he did
Mhm.
not see, that of having a role model, and why his mom was a role model, number one, and
Mhm.
then what were the positive implications to turn some of those negative behaviors around?
Oh yeah, absolutely. What we talked about was some of the things he liked. Tell me
Mhm.
about you. What do you like to do? What can I help you do? So he loved playing football.
Mhm.
And so what I did was connect him to one of the coaches that I know from our youth program, football program. And I was able to connect him. So now not only did he end up with a football coach, but he ended up with a mentor. And so it kind of kept him out of the streets, but it also put him in a place where now we're around a whole bunch of other positivity, where he can, there's some light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I don't have to only be here. And then I also connected him and his mom to other resources in the community. He struggled with reading. Of course, behavior was the main thing that was happening in school, so he wasn't learning. So we were able to put some things in place, like a 504 plan for him, so that he can get the extra resources in school. And so at the end of the school year, he was able to move on, to high school with some other positivity in his life. So, that right there in that moment, that was a great thing that I witnessed. That, and I haven't seen him since, but I also haven't heard any bad things either.
We
So
say no news, and when it comes to
good
that, is
news.
good news. Yeah. So listen, I have the you haven't followed him since you did your big one, as the kids say. So when we say that we had those positive outcomes with connecting him with additional resources, getting him identified to get the extra support that he needed,
Absolutely.
you pulled the family engagement piece in, which is sometimes
Mhm.
people think that educators in the school settings are dropping the ball, but they got many balls to carry. They
Mhm.
got to
Mhm.
juggle a lot. And so sometimes it's
Mhm.
hard for them to slow down enough to be able to execute those things, like making sure you
Mhm.
had a good, tight plan of action in place. That you was able to connect family engagement. Do you know, like, the number percentage? Did he go from do you remember right offhand if it went from 3 out of school suspensions to he went down to 1? Do you have any data, or you just by keeping up with you working with
Mhm.
him could see the decline in his behavior? Do you have any data for our audience?
The data is, and I'll use him as example, and some other kids. Usually it's probably so I'm giving like the numbers off of a caseload.
Okay.
I'm gonna say for him,
Mm-hmm.
his attendance went up
Yes.
because he was coming to school, he was being
Yes.
more motivated.
Mm-hmm.
His behavior, as far as the behaviors, you know what, it did decrease. And I have to say, probably within a month, it decreased like drastically, probably
Significantly.
80%. And so that was a good feeling, because now I was able to also get the teachers to take a liking to him. There was some that believed in him, especially one in particular. And she was so positive when she would speak to him. She's like, I told you you could do it. I knew you could do it,
Wonderful.
And that's what he needed. And
Mm-hmm.
That's needed.
that's what he needed. But guess what? That's what the teacher needed also. The teacher needed to know that you can be included in this, because I also understand your frustration.
Mm-hmm.
I also
Mhm.
understand that you can't teach your class when you got one student in here who is sabotaging and just, constantly, just being destructive. So I think it was win-win for both of them at the end
It
of
was a win-win for everyone, the entire village.
Uh-huh.
It was perfect in that closing that prisoner pipeline gap from home to school. Now, with that being said, Threetha, I'm gonna have to give you some more. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna kiss your brain right here.
Yes.
But
Yes,
I'm
yes,
gonna
yes.
pull Tiffany in as a counselor. And I want you to get a piece of this in this master class because she just dropped tons of boulders, nuggets, chicken fries, and everything. So Tiffany, come on and get some. Come on and get
Well, I
some.
mean, that, those stories are the stories that
Oh,
keep
it's
you going,
beautiful.
because working 13 years in an alternative education setting with predominantly African American boys, Hispanic boys, and seeing that cycle, it was times that I could read a jail's attendance list, and it reads like my class list, and I said, we gotta stop this. If it can't stop with me, I'm gonna try my best. So thinking of that story of that young man, I saw that so often.
Yes.
But I remember having a student like that, and just talking to them and making them feel a part of it. One day I brought in like brunch items, and I said, we're gonna have brunch. They laughed. Oh, this bougie teacher, I don't know where to get her from. Don't nobody eat brunch. You just eat a lunch. I mean, they had they had my assistant about to cry. She looking at me. I said, no, fix your face. We're gonna have brunch,
That's
and we're
right.
gonna show them
That's
a
right.
different world. When
There
you're
we
not
go.
shown, and you take a liking, like I would tell all teachers, they know if you like them or not, right?
True.
And
Immediately.
so even if you got to pull it from deep in your soul to like it, bring it out, because they need it. When you sit down and talk to, I had a student similar in the streets, barely coming to school. We made a plan for him. Listen, we need to reduce your office discipline referrals. This is our goal, and bring your attendance up. This is how I can see you graduating from high school. Without doing those things, I can't see
absolutely.
Tiffany,
yes,
I'm a data chick. I love data, and I got to
yes,
give a shout out to my teachers, my clinical teacher and a practicum teacher by loving data. Yeah, I'm a data chick. So I wanted you, when you say they were reduced, do you remember right offhand when you're making those kind of goals for them? What
yes.
this is huge for you, Threetha, and for Tiffany. What is a realistic goal for a child with? And this is something I want the families to lean in on and listen, and the educators. What is a realistic goal, a fresh goal for a child having behavior issues?
So when we are looking at that, if I'm starting out with, and this student came to me with 10 office discipline referrals, already had 10. And I'm like, well, we got to look at over the course of this semester, how do we reduce that? Of course, of this school year, how do you reduce that? In that time, he had maybe 2 from our school. So that shows you the things that you're consistently, and that's the key word in behavior, consistently putting into place, then you can reduce it. As well as the school as a whole. I worked in a large elementary school, and they had 400 discipline referrals. And I pulled them and I said, I worked at an alternative school and we didn't have this amount. So let's look at where they're stemming from. And if they're just particular to a grade level, let's have some interventions with the grade level. Because we're not going to be, it's not going to be the students. So when I pulled the whole leadership team in and we all sat and we looked at bus, we looked at cafeteria, we looked at the car pickup, classroom. When we start to pinpoint, we made a flow chart of minor and major behaviors and understanding of the teachers. What is a minor? What is a major? That school went from 453 referrals that year to 123 referrals the following.
Come through.
Yes.
And it was just the teachers. You couldn't fault them because they needed to know why would I write a referral? What's a minor infraction? What's a major referral? What behavior should I be looking for?
Absolutely.
And then we also had to change the environment in which these behaviors were occurring and start incentivizing on the bus. If you're riding to school every day, you're not getting up out your seat, you get a bus ticket. At the end of the week, we got a raffle for McDonald's. You know, how do you walk in a hallway? How do you enter a classroom? What are the expectations of the school when you walk onto campus, and the teachers start to feel more empowered because they started to feel like they didn't have a handle
Absolutely.
on it. With that many referrals, I mean, I would read referrals that says chewing gum. One would say defiance. One would say disrespect. And I said, I want everyone to define defiance and define disrespect. And we're going to have a common definition. Because I can roll my eyes and you think that's fine. We're from the same era. You're like, oh, she's just a little upset. But then someone else could take it as, oh, this girl is about to jump on me. She rolls her eyes. I'm like, if anything, the roll of eyes was just like a warning. So what could happen? So let's just, and then you pick up on the behavior. If I'm pacing back and forth, if I roll my eyes, that's not a moment for you to be the aggressor and start making me do what you want me to do. That is for you to take a step back as an adult and be okay with giving a direction and walking away. That saves so many students, because so many students have referrals because of the power struggle between them and the teacher.
Absolutely. And can I also add to that? That was great. I have had times where I have to meet with teachers and say, what are we doing here? You know, what are we doing here? Like there's a power struggle going on here. Who is the adult in the room?
Come on,
take a step back.
Take a step back. It's okay. I tell parents all the time, it's okay to take a 10-minute break, because if you don't, something bad can come from that. And the one thing I am quick to let people know, you won't win with a kid. I'm going to let you know right now. I know adults think they're going to win. You will not, especially a kid that already has these struggles with oppositional defiant disorder. Like, I like what Tiffany said when she said, define what defiant is for me. For you.
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
What is that to you? Because we may not have the same understanding. We all come right now. I think we all are from the same generation, but we are talking something totally different.
Very true.
And we have to put things in perspective. And I think we all do it. I'm guilty of it. I'm an old school mom.
Me too.
When I say, listen, you better, and I have to like back up sometimes and say, okay, you know what? This is my own stuff going on. Let me just chill out a little bit. And so I do a lot of psychoeducation with teachers around that. That is your class. You should demand respect. But if you are coming in and you're having a bad day, and it's just happened and you don't got no self-control, guess what? That same kid that have those impulsive behaviors is going to feed off your energy.
Oh, no doubt about it. And I am loving, and I know that you guys are coming on the expert, but just as a classroom teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me grab my pearl. Okay, let me clutch you, because I'm gonna try to get through this, because you if I had a 50 cent in the left pocket and a 50 cent in the right pocket, and you pass the offering plate, you both will get 50 cent. Okay,
all right
now. Okay. I am hoping that our community and the educators and the stakeholders and the families are leaning in, because you are, Tiffany, you address the fact of defining what is negative behavior, and does it warrant a write-up slip? And I'm gonna have to stop right there, because when I tell y'all that if we could probably take just those nuggets from the master class that you guys are saying, how we educate the educators. We can't assume all educators are old school like us and know how to read body language, know when to say, okay, I'm not in a good headspace today, so I'm going to let Ms. Littlebug across the front street deal with them right this second. Or I'm going to sit at my desk and I'm going to meditate and get myself together.
Absolutely.
And sometimes if you stop and see, sometimes it is not the students, sometimes it's the classroom teachers. But anyway, y'all probably gonna get some hate mail on that one. Look, I haven't got any stuff from Let's Talk K-12 Education yet, but they probably gonna send me some other ones on that one. But it's true. We have to identify what it is, Tiffany, and you went on and brought them in on that one. If you don't do anything else, it is educating what it looks like. And you guys, Tharetha has identified how we make it where that child has success, and we see the positive implications on when we understand the art of behavior management. You guys are killing the game in this master class today. I'm going to have to probably just come back and have you guys come finish, because I didn't even get half of my content in because y'all was so good. Ooh, got me excited. Yes, ma'am.
Because this is something that we know, you know, we know what works, but this is not common. You know, people like use common sense. Common sense is not common, so this is not.
Let me tell you,
this is practice. This is learning from students, and I love Miss Green stating that the child will always win. They absolutely will. Now, you may, as your grown adult self, in that moment, think you won by sending them to the office where they're sitting around eating some goldfish and kicking their feet, and coming and hearing office gossip and coming right back to you. So never play that card of, okay, I'm the adult, and this I am gonna do this, because they're always coming back. So what are you gonna do when they come back? Because they come right back.
Oh, they're coming right back.
What they say?
So happy.
What you say? 3 to that child say, I got time today.
Listen, and they make it their business.
They make it their business. But listen, y'all, let's go over these key takeaways real quick before we close it out. Some key takeaways from the behavior management, the art of behavior management masterclass today from Ms. Tonitia Green and Ms. Tiffany Proctor is: adopt a framework, foster collaboration, and utilize data and promote positive relationships in a nutshell. So remember that every child and educator in educational environments is different. And remember, if you have topics, you can hit me up on Let's Talk K-12 Education. And this is Tonitia Langley, your educational enthusiast and thought leader here at Let's Talk K-12 Education every Tuesday, 2 to 3. And thank you for tuning in today on Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. Thank you, Ms. Tonitia Green and Tiffany Proctor. We'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.